Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 14, and this is text number 32. Nayam arhatya sadbrito Naradeva varashanam Yodhiyagyapatim Vishnum Vinindatyana patrapa Nayam arhatya sadvrito Naradeva varasanam Yodhi yagyapating Vishnum Vinindatyana patrapa Ladies. Na, never. I am this man. Arhati deserves. A satvrita, full of impious activities. Naradeva, of the worldly king or worldly god. Varaasanam, the exalted throne. Yaha, he who, Adiyagyapatim, the master of all sacrifices, Vishnum, Lord Vishnu, Vinindati, insults, Anapatrapa, shameless. Translation: the saintly sages continued, this impious, impudent man does not deserve to sit on the throne at all. He's so shameless that he even dared insult the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu. Purport: one should not at any time tolerate blasphemy and insults against Lord Vishnu or his devotees. A devotee is generally very humble and meek, and he's reluctant to pick a quarrel with anyone, nor does he envy anyone. However, a pure devotee immediately becomes fiery with anger when he sees that Lord Vishnu or his devotee is insulted. This is the duty of a devotee. Although a devotee maintains an attitude of meekness and gentleness, it is a great fault on his part if he remains silent when the Lord or his devotee is blasphemed. Nayam arhatyasad vrito naradeva varasanam yodhi yagya patim vishnum vinindatyana patrapa. The saintly sage has continued, this impious, impudent man does not deserve to sit on the throne at all. He's so shameless that he even dared insult the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu. So the great rishis and sages, they are deeply absorbed in Krishna consciousness, and they understand the proper way in which human beings should interact in society, and how they should accept the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and also show respect and listen to his representatives, that is to say, the Brahmin Vaishnavas, who are very dear to the Lord. Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagat Hitaya Krishna Govindaya Namo Namaha. So the Lord Govinda is a great lover of Go Brahmana, the cows and the Brahmanas. Krishna himself always shows respect to the Brahmanas. As we see Lord Vishnu showing respect to the four Kumaras, for example, when Jai Vijay stopped them from entering Vaikuntha, and they cursed Jai Vijay to go to the material world, the Lord himself came to the gates of Vaikuntha because he understood there's some problem, there's some disturbance going on there, and immediately, he's understood the fault of the gatekeepers, and he upheld the curse also. He said, you have to undergo the curse. The Kumars gave the gatekeepers choice of 3 births as demons or 7 as devotees, and they chose the 3 births as demons because they wanted to come back quickly to Vaikuntha, and also because sometimes the Lord likes to have a good fight, and there's no one to fight with in the spiritual world. So he has to come to the material world, but he's not going to come for any small demon. To have a good fight, you need a very powerful demon. So they got special mercy to play that role, and they were killed each time by the Supreme Lord. But anyway, the Lord Vishnu, he invited the Kumar, please come inside, and he said, I would not hesitate to cut off my own arm if it would be pleasing to the Brahmanas. So in this way he showed himself to be a great lover of the Brahmanas. Of course, we also know the famous story of Bhrigu Muni, who was requested by the great sages to ascertain who is supreme, Brahma, Vishnu, or Shiva. So he had to undertake a very, very dangerous mission. A very dangerous mission. But the sages had requested him, and they gave him, and they empowered him, gave him their blessings. So he was a son of Brahma, Bhrigu, and he approached Brahma, and in a very sort of familiar way. Normally, the son should, bow down before the father, show respect to the father. Especially if it's Lord Brahma, of course. And, he just approached it in a very, very familiar way and not showing any respect. So Lord Brahma was displeased, and, he was angry. Then he went to Lord Shiva, who is his brother, after all. And Lord Shiva came forward to embrace my dear brother. So stay away, back off, that I don't want to be touched by you, contaminated by you. You got skulls around your neck, you're smeared in ashes, you got ghosts and hobgoblins. Lord Shiva became very angry and took his stride. He was going to kill Brigu, and Parvati had to stop him. That he's a brahmana. You cannot kill a brahmana. So those offense to Brahma is a mental offense. An offense to Shiva is a verbal offense, which is greater than mental. But then he went to see Lord Vishnu, and he committed a physical offense, which is even worse. He stood on the chest of Lord Vishnu, which angered Lakshmi, and therefore it said she doesn't favor the brahmanas. The brahmanas are often poor. But they're not bothered, if they're serious, spiritually advanced brahmanas, they won't be bothered. They, can live simply and depend on the mercy of the Lord. Anyway, Lord Vishnu wasn't at all angry, didn't display any displeasure at all. He, in fact, apologized to Brigu. I hope my hard chest has not hurt your soft lotus foot, you see. So in this he was able to, he gave report to the sages, and in this way he ascertained who is the supreme among these three personalities. Krishna himself, as we see in his Sudama Brahman story also, Sudama came to see him, and a very poor Brahmana, very thin. But immediately Lord Krishna seated him on a beautiful asana, and he offered it, puja to him, washed his feet, sprinkled the water on his family members, showed all respect to Sudama, who was his friend, and who was a very pure Brahmana. And Sudama had a little bag of chipped rice his wife had given for him to present to the Lord. But he was embarrassed. This is an insignificant thing to offer the Lord. But the Lord understood he's brought this for me, and he snatched it and he began to eat it. Again here, you see, Rukmini, she's told him, don't eat too much. You'll become indebted to the Brahmana, too much indebted, like that. But anyway, when he got home, he found his house was transformed, his humble cottage was transformed into a beautiful palace, and his wife, instead of dressed in rags, she was dressed in costly clothing and costly ornaments. So in this way, Lord Krishna reciprocated with him for giving just a little chipped rice. So he's a lover of the Brahmanas in this way. And we see also so many examples in the scriptures of kings giving, cows and wealth to the Brahmanas. So this is a tradition in a Vedic society. The Brahmanas shouldn't have to work, as servants for others. Nowadays, in India, you might see rickshaw-wallahs with Brahmin threads. Of course, it's, they're coming in just Brahmin families, but they're not acting as Brahmanas. Huh? So Prabhupada, he was very particular. Actually, people should be recognized by their qualities and activities, and that's what Krishna says, isn't it? In the Bhagavad Gita, Chaturvarna Maya Srishtam, Guna Karma Vibhagashaha. I've divided the society according to qualities and work, qualities and activities. So, this idea that just because someone's born in a Brahmin family is automatically a Brahmin, this is not accepted by our acharyas and not accepted by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. Although naturally he did show respect to Brahmanas, but they should really be up to the standard. This is the proper way. Anyhow, a devotee is respectful to all, and a devotee feels duty to protect other devotees, to protect the Lord, the deities, the good name of the Lord, and the good name of the devotees. So as Prabhupada says here, a pure devotee immediately becomes fiery with anger when he sees Lord Vishnu or his devotee insulted. And this is the duty of a devotee, he will try to protect other devotees and try to protect the Lord, protect their good name. But otherwise a devotee is very humble and meek. He's very cooperative. He's always absorbed in chanting the names of the Lord, hearing from the scriptures, and he derives great satisfaction of heart from such activities. He's always willing to represent the Lord, to repeat the instructions of the Lord to others. In this way, a genuine devotee is properly situated in his eternal constitutional position as a servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord. So many great kings had that attitude, even though they were very powerful personalities. But this particular king, unfortunately, had the wrong attitude, and therefore the sages were fully justified in punishing him by killing him with high-powered mantras, high-pitched words, as it will be said in the verse. So they were powerful, and they were not unnecessarily killing the king, but they did it for the welfare of the entire society. Okay, any question or comment today?
Thank you so much for wonderful bhajans. It's so blissful. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Yes, please.
Is there any risk that devotees engaging anger in that sort of bona fide sense? A devotee or Krishna is being offended or spoken about in a certain way. Is there any risk in engaging anger in that situation?
Well, there's risk if it's an uncontrolled anger. The anger also has to be used in the right way. Not that a devotee just lose control of himself, but he may have to chastise some junior or some offender, whatever. But he has to do it in the right way. I mean, Prabhupada sometimes became angry with his disciples. And sometimes we even apologize, don't mind, but I have to chastise you, otherwise you won't understand, how to discriminate the right from wrong. So obviously he was very expert in using his anger, but we should be cautious. But at the same time, we do, as this verse, we need to defend other devotees or defend the Lord. Yes?
Could it be considered a defense in the context sort of demands that of you and you don't do it?
Well, it says that here, doesn't it? It's a great fault on a devotee's part if he remains silent when the Lord or his devotee is blasphemed. Yes, I'll read the whole sentence. It's the last sentence of the purport. Although a devotee maintains an attitude of meekness and gentleness, it is a great fault on his part if he remains silent when the Lord or his devotee is blasphemed.
If someone comes and abuses to our face, what is the right approach? Like I got recently attacked and I just stayed silent. Is that like if we just get abused and we just stay silent, is that the right approach? Or we have to answer back? Or
It depends on the situation. You know, depends on the situation. Sometimes he might have to answer back, but sometimes it would be better tactic to remain silent. So, case by case basis, I guess. Devotee, in the course of practicing Krishna consciousness, he becomes more experienced and would be better able to understand, how best to respond in any particular situation. Okay then. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi Harivam.